Hello, I'm Sonic. Let's talk about basics of complex numbers. In the slideshow, we take z is equal to a plus ib. For example, let us take 3 plus 5i. As you can see, we take real axis as x-axis. And we take imaginary axis as y-axis. Now, let's spot the location. Here, the coordinate is 3 and 5. If we take a conjugate value, this changes the sign. That is 3 minus 5i, and vice versa. You can find an image of an example. This becomes negative as well as colors change oppositely. If you make an average color, this approaches 50% gray in color. Next, we will talk about addition and subtraction. Let's take z1 is equal to a plus ib, and take z2 is equal to c plus id. Adding them z1 and z2, that is, a plus c in parenthesis for the real, plus the imaginary part b plus d in parenthesis. If you subtract them, say z1 minus z2. That is, a minus c for the real, plus b minus d for the imaginary part. Next, by multiplying these values, say z1 z2, which is equal to ac minus bd, plus imaginary part of ad plus bc. You can notice that square of imaginary is equal to minus 1. And, by dividing these values, say z1 divided by z2, which is equal to a plus ib, divided by c plus id. But first, you might need to multiply it by denominator. Take the conjugate of z2, which is c minus id, and on the numerator. This equals ac minus bd minus imaginary part ad minus bc, divided by c squared, minus entire id squared. Say c squared plus d squared on the denominator. You can see the cyclic view of an imaginary number I, is equal to square root of minus 1. Then square of I, is minus 1. Then cube of I, is minus square root of minus 1. Then fourth exponent of I, is 1. If you have fifth exponent of I, which is same as I, that repeats the cycle and so on. Finally, the polar form. In general form, we write z is equal to r times, in parenthesis, cosine theta, plus imaginary part sine theta. For example, if r is 1 and theta is 60 degrees, or pi over 3, this shows that cosine pi over 3 is 1 by 2, and sine pi over 3 is square root of 3 divided by 2. We write r is equal to square root a squared plus b squared. If a is 1 by 2, and b is square root 3 by 2, then square of sum in entire root is 1. So r is equal to 1. Also tangent theta is equal to b by a. Or theta is equal to arctan, or simply inverse tan, of b by a. Hence theta is equal to arctan of square root 3, which is 60 degrees, or pi over 3. Subscribe now.